I just wanted to pop on here for a quick video. I'm a little bit stuffy and my throat hurts and my jaw hurts. I don't know. Might be getting a little bit of a cold or something, but so in the last 2 years since my awakening, shit with my family has gotten so bad. And for 2 years, I'm like, oh, could you please just look at this CIA declassified document, the gateway process? So maybe you guys could see a little bit bigger a picture here. And instead of hating me, maybe learn a little bit or something. And no. Oh, so I hear my fudge up or clinking around. My family can't fucking stand me. I've been so black sheeped. Things have actually gotten really bad, and it's really unfortunate. And I could sit here and tell people, please do me a little favor and check out that gateway process and lead them to water, and they will not click on it. They will not want to sip, and that's cool. But like I said, I don't want this shit being our kids, and I'm gonna be adamant here. Like, I can't believe what's happened to me and a lot of other people when they wake up and realize what's going on and then gotta get gaslit by people that don't know. This is bullshit. It's such bullshit. So I was just scrolling to see and show you that it's never-ending amounts of information on this. And it's funny because I don't hear any political pundits on either side talking about this shit. It's kind of like they're in cahoots or something. It's kind of like they don't want people to know. I'll click this one. What the fuck's going on? But I do.
For a limited time.
Okay.
Imagine a secret study, a document that for years was hidden,
Hidden.
kept under confidentiality. A study that, when revealed, brought to light concepts that cross the boundaries between science and mysticism, between the tangible and the intangible. What is found in this declassified CIA document called the Gateway Process is a deep dive into the exploration of altered states of consciousness and the possibilities that arise when the human mind surpasses the limits of ordinary perception. The Gateway Process is not just another academic study. It is a record of decades of research on the phenomena that occur when the human mind connects to dimensions beyond the physical reality we know. This document reveals techniques that, in their essence, promise to expand human consciousness, allowing for an exploration of reality that goes far beyond what our senses can perceive. It presents methods such as out-of-body experiences, OBE, and other dimensions of perception that defy conventional understanding. This CIA study, now declassified, connects the knowledge of the great scientists in history, such as Einstein's theory of relativity and the discoveries in quantum physics, with the oldest spiritual traditions, including mystical practices from the East. It offers a path, a meticulous process that can guide us to experiences that alter our perception of time, space, and our own identity. With this in mind, some questions arise. What else exists beyond what we see? What happens when our mind is freed from the limitations of matter and the boundaries of space-time? So today, we will explore how the Gateway Process proposes to expand consciousness and lead to experiences beyond the reality we know. You will discover how the human mind can access hidden dimensions and what science and spirituality have in common when it comes to perceiving reality. The out-of-body experience, or OBE, is one of the most fascinating and, at the same time, enigmatic experiences that a human being can undergo. It is an altered...
I'm sorry, this one's boring me. If it's boring me, it's probably going to bore most other people. Well, let's pick a different one. Okay. I love the Y-Files. I love
The United States military is always looking for new ways to create super soldiers. They use performance-enhancing and mind-altering drugs. They're currently experimenting with brain implant technology. They've even explored genetic engineering to try and breed the perfect soldier. But those are nothing compared to what happened in 1983 when Lieutenant Colonel Wayne McDonnell submitted a very unusual and detailed report to U.S. Army intelligence. It was called Analysis and Assessment of Gateway Process. This is a step-by-step guide on how to achieve an out-of-body experience for the purpose of intelligence gathering. But Colonel McDonnell's report went much further than that. An advanced gateway participant can not just project their consciousness to a different place, they could pull their consciousness completely out of this reality. They could travel anywhere in the universe, and at any point in time. The report revealed that our universe doesn't actually exist. It's a construct created by our mind. By using the gateway process, you can exit the construct and see reality for what it really is. The 30-page gateway report was immediately classified for one simple reason. Anyone can learn to do it. Even you. Colonel McDonnell's analysis and assessment of gateway process gets right to the point. There are alternate states of reality and other dimensions that exist outside our physical world and outside of time itself.
Whoa, it sounds like I'm gonna need a brain bucket for this one.
Oh yeah, this is the strangest military report I've ever read. I'm surprised it's not still classified. According to the report, we can use the gateway process to access other dimensions. Now, if you think that sounds paranormal or like New Age mumbo-jumbo, you're not alone. Even Colonel McDonnell was aware that this was the impression his report would give. So he starts off by grounding his research in science. McDonnell consults Itzhak Bentov, a well-respected biomedical engineer, to help him understand the physical aspect of the process. He uses quantum mechanics to describe the nature of human consciousness, and he employs both classical and theoretical physics to explain the out-of-body phenomenon. But most importantly, the report gives step-by-step instructions on how to have a gateway experience. Follow these instructions, and you could learn to astrally project, visit other dimensions, and even slip in and out of time. This is why the military was drawn to it and studied it for years. If the United States could train a unit of psychic spies that could project their consciousness anywhere unnoticed, that would be very effective at gathering intelligence. Still, McDonnell knew his report would be difficult to believe, but he really thought it could be done.
There is a sound, rational basis in terms of physical science parameters for considering Gateway to be plausible in terms of its essential objectives. Intuitional insights of not only personal but of a practical and professional nature would seem to be within bounds of reasonable expectations.
My brain bucket, it's gonna fill up fast.
It is. You better have a spare bucket handy. The Gateway process is a training system developed in the 70s by the Monroe Institute in Virginia. Colonel McDonnell, along with other military personnel, went through the week-long training process that anyone can do, even today. But the Gateway report ended with a final warning that nobody really expected. Because this method is accessible to anyone, Colonel McDonnell warned that the military should be prepared for encounters with intelligent and non-friendly entities that could exist outside the boundaries of time and space. In other words, a psychic war. Even though anyone can learn the Gateway method, you can't just snap your fingers and escape reality. There is some foundation work you have to do first.
Well, no matter what reality you're in, ain't no such thing as a free lunch.
Right. You have to learn relaxation techniques, meditation, and extreme focus. You also have to set all doubt aside and let your mind be open to a completely new way of thinking. Only once you master these techniques can you begin to comprehend the true nature of reality. Your life, the earth, the universe, and everything in it is an illusion created by your mind.
Solid matter, in the strict construction of the term, simply does not exist. Rather, atomic structure is composed of oscillating energy grids surrounded by other oscillating energy grids, which orbit at extraordinarily high speeds.
There is no solid matter. Everything that exists is a form of energy vibrating at extremely fast frequencies, from the largest objects in the universe down to atoms and subatomic particles and everything in between. It's all energy.
The point to be made is that the entire human being, brain, consciousness, and all, is, like the universe which surrounds him, nothing more or less than an extraordinarily complex system of energy fields. So-called states of matter are actually variances in energy, and human consciousness is a function of the interaction of energy.
Our consciousness is tuned into the frequencies of energy that make up the world that we see, but we only perceive a small percentage of the energy that actually exists all around us. Think of tuning a radio. If you tune into a rock station, you only hear music broadcast on that channel. Now, of course, there are lots of other channels with all different kinds of music, but your radio doesn't play them all at once, only the single station it's tuned into. Our brains are like that radio, designed to filter out everything except for the energy that creates our reality. And just like a radio converts energy into sound, our brains convert this universal energy into things we can see and hear and taste and touch. But none of the solid matter around us is actually there. Our senses create the illusion of matter so that we can experience this reality in a way that we can understand. Now, according to the Gateway Report, we're all living in a shared universal hologram.
The universe is composed of interacting energy fields. It is in and of itself one gigantic hologram of unbelievable complexity. According to the theories of Carl Pribram, a neuroscientist at Stanford University, and David Bohm, a physicist at the University of London, the human mind is also a hologram, which attunes itself to the universal hologram and achieves the state, which we call consciousness.
The gateway process teaches you to turn off the filter in your brain and gives you access to alternate states of reality and lets you escape space-time altogether. And anyone can learn to do this. You don't need to decalcify your pineal gland or spend years at a Buddhist monastery. You don't need a shaman or a guru or mind-altering drugs. You just need headphones. The gateway process is done by listening to sound.
Yeah, but tell me more about those mind-altering drugs.
Love him.
In the 1950s, New York broadcasting executive Robert Monroe found evidence that different types of sound could affect the human mind in different ways. Some sound patterns would make you sleepy. Another would make you alert. Some sound can give you anxiety. Other sounds are very relaxing.
Well, people have said my voice is relaxing.
Then you're not reading the comments. Using this discovery, Monroe began experimenting with hypnopedia, or sleep learning. Monroe was convinced that there was a connection between sound waves and not just a person's mood, but their ability to learn and retain information. Now, one night while trying a sleep learning technique, Monroe had an experience that was unexpected but would change his life. While listening to a specific sound frequency, his body slowly became paralyzed. He then started to feel a vibration that became stronger and stronger. Suddenly, he was awash in bright white light.
Sorry, I gotta move.
Then a sound, or maybe just a sensation,
Just chilling
of
in
a
bed.
rush of air that became a roar so loud it was unbearable. Then, in an instant, everything was quiet. The vibration stopped, the light dissipated, and Robert Monroe found himself in his bedroom floating above his sleeping body. There was no name for this at the time, but later became known as an OBE, an out-of-body experience, a term that Monroe himself popularized. Though this OBE happened completely by accident, he was able to use sound to replicate the experience 9 times over the next 6 weeks. Monroe wrote about the experience in his 1971 book, Journeys Out of the Body. He went on to found the Monroe Institute and became a prominent researcher in the field of human consciousness. Soon Monroe discovered that while out of his body, he could identify, access, and sustain different states of consciousness. This is done by synchronizing the left and right hemispheres of the brain. Now, even though the brain functions as a whole, its different parts serve different functions, as do its 2 hemispheres. The left hemisphere is traditionally associated with logic and reason, perception, and focus. The right hemisphere is responsible for emotion, creativity, and intuition.
So it's like a sideways mullet.
A sideways mullet? What are you talking about?
A mullet, you know, business in the front, but a party in the back. 2 pieces of your brain are like that. But a mullet is the front and the back, and the brain is left and right. So the mullet, it's sideways. I'm sorry, all this about dimensions and realities and mullets, it's hard to contribute.
The left hemisphere of the brain tends to be more active in the beta frequency range of 13 to 30 hertz, which is associated with alertness, attention, and cognitive control. The right hemisphere is active in the alpha frequency range, 8 to 13 hertz, which is associated with relaxation, creativity, and spatial processing. The right brain operates much more slowly than the left.
Sideways, mullet.
By listening to certain sounds, the gateway process synchronizes both hemispheres using a technique called hemisync.
Fundamentally, the gateway experience is a training system designed to bring enhanced strength, focus, and coherence to the amplitude and frequency of brainwave output between the left and right hemispheres, so as to alter consciousness, moving it outside the physical sphere, so as to ultimately escape even the restrictions of time and space. The participant then gains access to the various levels of intuitive knowledge which the universe offers.
The Gateway Report describes hemisync as a lamp versus a laser. The natural state of the human mind is like a lamp that emits light, but it's chaotic and messy and uneven over a large area. Hemisync lets the mind operate like a laser, producing a focused stream of energy. According to Gateway, when the frequency and amplitude of the human brain are brought into sync, it's possible to accelerate and raise the vibrational levels of the mind. As the mind resonates higher and higher, it can synchronize with the more complex energy levels in the universe. At these levels, the mind is capable of processing information in the same way it processes the energy of our current reality. In other words, you can see and feel and understand these other states of reality as easily as you understand this one. But you can do more than understand reality. You can learn to change it, control it, and bend it to your will, like Neo in the Matrix, or like God.
Because everybody's Neo and everybody is a little source morsel here, little piece of God, and they admit it. But my family hates me because I tell them we live in a fucking simulation. The government admits it. And nobody in the news talks about this. And it's kind of crazy. It kind of looks like they want us all to be a bunch of fucking idiots forever or something and have no control of our minds. Crazy.
According to Colonel McDonald's Gateway Report, understanding how human consciousness could exist outside the physical body requires an understanding of holographic theory, or the holographic principle.
Uh-oh, let me get my bucket ready.
Energy creates, stores, and retrieves meaning in the universe by projecting or expanding at certain frequencies in a three-dimensional mode that creates a living pattern called a hologram.
The report says that holograms are capable of encoding so much detail that if you made a holographic projection of a glass of swamp water, you could put the hologram, not the water, the hologram under a microscope and see microscopic organisms, actually holograms of microscopic organisms. Now this sounds nuts, but the CIA was onto something big. If you watched our episode on simulation theory, you'll remember John Wheeler and his delayed choice double slit experiment. The video
That
has more
shit was
details,
wild.
but in short, Wheeler showed that particles seem to be able to change their state by going back in time. Now, Wheeler felt that the universe wasn't necessarily made up of matter and energy, but instead, the universe is made up of information. Our hologram uses this information to create our three-dimensional universe. And holographic theory is a well-established idea in theoretical physics, and widely accepted by many physicists. I know it's a lot to wrap your head around, and I'd like to do a whole episode on this, so if you'd like to see that, email me or let me know in the comments. Anyway, in order to create our hologram from information, that information has to be exchanged. Particles can bounce off each other, can affect each other's speed, carry energy to each other, and that's how they exchange information. But here's where the Gateway Report goes a step further. It says that this information can be exchanged not just in our universe, but between dimensions, implying that there are dimensions of reality yet to be discovered. His theory raises questions about the interaction between human consciousness and the holographic universe. Like, can our consciousness, which is energy, also exchange information with other dimensions? The Gateway process says that yes, it can. But there's more. McDonald argues that human beings are not passive receivers of the information floating around the universe. We participate in this information. And by training the way we perceive and process the information that creates our reality, we can actually change reality itself. And this technique is called patterning.
The technique of patterning recognizes the fact that since consciousness is the source of all reality, our thoughts have the power to influence reality if those thoughts can be projected with adequate intensity.
Think about the concept of The Secret and the law of attraction, which says that we can make things happen by focusing our imagination on a desirable outcome. But how? How do we allow our consciousness to access this other information? The Planck distance is about 1.6 times 10 to the negative 35 meters, so really small. It's the smallest possible unit of length that has any physical meaning in the universe. At this scale, the laws of physics break down. But what if it's not the smallest? In his report, Colonel McDonald speculates that by using the gateway process to accelerate brainwave frequencies, humans may be able to break the physical limitation of the Planck distance. McDonald suggests that consciousness could, for an instant, enter the space beyond human perception. He calls this clicking out of reality.
It is true that when, for an infinitesimally brief instant, that energy reaches one of its 2 points of rest, it clicks out of time-space and joins infinity. That critical step out of time-space occurs when the speed of the oscillation drops below Planck's distance. To use the words of Bentov, quantum mechanics tell us that when distances go below Planck's distance, we enter, in effect, a new world.
So, I say we try it. Grab some headphones and let's see what's out there. Okay, don't worry, we're not really going to escape reality, at least not today. I just want to show you how the gateway process actually works. The program combines 2 techniques. The first is frequency following response, or FFR. FFR involves introducing a frequency through headphones, which the brain tries to mimic by adjusting its brainwaves. The second technique is beat frequency. You might have heard this called binaural beats. This involves playing different frequencies in each ear.
Okay, my arms are going numb. I shouldn't have to just sit here and hold my phone and hope that one of my relatives will actually watch the fucking video or something already. It's crazy. Crazy shit. But yeah, I actually messed around with the hemisync frequencies before, and it was definitely super interesting and strange. But yeah, I just wanted to put this on here. I need to get something like this toward the top of my channel because I'm going to be gearing up to talk about all of this in more depth with my mental health doctor, and I'm shopping for a new therapist right now. I saw my mental health doctor a couple days ago. It's like the first time in over 6 months. And then he was like, do you want to schedule with Jen? You haven't seen Jen for a while either. And I'm like, yeah, I like Jen too much. So I don't want a therapist right now. I don't want to creep her out or talk to her about stressful things. And he's like, what? We have a bunch of different therapists and stuff like that. And then I had to do an intake. And because I'd been gone for so long, I had to do like an intake, like a new patient. And I ended up talking to this chick. She was a therapist, and she's asking me all these questions and blah, blah, blah. And she was like, do you celebrate any calendar holidays? Because I always put, non-religious. So it was like her way of like trying to ask me if I'm religious in some way, I think. But she's like, do you celebrate the calendar holidays? And I was like, I feel like I have to, because I feel like I know what they're actually about and my sleeping family doesn't. So I just gotta, play stupid and celebrate these pagan holidays and shit. And she's like, yeah, she's like, I feel the same way. I was like, that's really, really cool. And she's like, so you're not religious? And I went quoting fire from the gods. And I was like, I'm my own religion. I believe in my own spirit. And she was like, that's exactly how I think. And I'm like, do you know who Fire from the Gods is? And she's all, no. And I'm like, check them out. Blah, blah, blah. So, I scheduled with her for Christmas Eve, and I'm just going to ask her a few questions and ask her if she wants to be my therapist, maybe, if I want to talk about stuff, that maybe she'd be more, bandwidth carrying to handle hearing without freaking out or something, or thinking I'm crazy. But yeah, I don't know. I like my old therapist too much, and I need to get a therapist with a bigger bandwidth, and that I don't end up liking. Like, I don't want to really like her. I just want to use her and abuse her like everybody else does to their poor therapists, you know? Dump my shit out and keep it moving and don't even care. So, I guess I just gotta try to be a normal person all the time and be not courteous, I guess. Doodles. Have a good simulated reality night. Bye.